Papa told me I couldn't do a lot of things.
I feel like I'm the chosen one.
Look at this. We created this. This didn't exist before we were here. All we are is proud and passionate. I love Toronto. I love this team. And we're going to the NBA.
Nothing matters but winning.
Welcome back to episode 26 of Rapzville Weekly. I'm your co-host, Gabriel Chelio, alongside
Adam Kasucci.
And today we are going to finish off the guards' origin stories. So today we have none other than Kyle Lowry, the main man on the team. So Kyle Lowry was born on March 25th, 1986 in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. We know him as North Philly's finest. Lowry is one of two sons to Mary Holloway and Lonnie Lowry Sr. His older brother is named Lonnie Jr., and his older brother is also 5 years older than him. His father lived 10 minutes away from the family's home, which also included Kyle's half-sister, Laquita. Lonnie Sr. became distant from the family when Kyle was about 7 years old, leaving him and his siblings to be raised by his mother and disciplinarian grandmother. His mother was comfortable with this as she had her own job and didn't believe Lonnie Sr. was a good father for them. Mary always says that Kyle was a happy but calm baby, and as he grew older, he played many sports, including baseball and basketball. He started playing organized baseball at 7 years old, and whenever he got a hit at all, he'd never stop at first. He'd just keep going. Even if the first baseman had caught the ball, he would somehow just keep running till second. So from a young age, we could see that he had this winning and competitive nature in him, and that's been brought out to this day. His coach for baseball wanted Kyle to play basketball, so he started to play basketball at 7 years old also. Much of Kyle's childhood featured him playing pickup games against older boys in basketball, alongside his brother, Lonnie Jr., who taught Kyle how to play basketball, along with not to dwell on his estranged father. His brother also searched newspaper ads for AAU basketball tryouts and ensured that Lowry would get there and make the team. Kyle did eventually join his first AAU team at age 11, which is when he decided to fully focus on the sport of basketball, leaving baseball behind. He had it tough, though, as players were given advantages or being privileged for their connections on the team or for being older, and Kyle noticed that throughout his career. Although Kyle was better than a lot of the players on the AAU team, he often would still have to fight for playing time due to difficult circumstances or him being the younger one out of the cast. Lowry attended Cardinal Doughtry High School in Philadelphia, and as a freshman was not allowed to play for the varsity team because he was too young. The rule at the time were that freshmen could not play on varsity teams, and his mother mentioned this in the open gym video, because he did have enough skill and was better than much of the freshmen. He deserved to play on the varsity team, but he was not allowed to. So once again, he had to always fall short due to difficult and out of his control circumstances where he had to just prove himself and what he was worth. First year, he played point guard for the school's varsity basketball team for every year following. Between his sophomore and junior year, Lonnie Jr. remembers his insane development as he went from a good player to a phenomenal player. Lonnie remembers playing him in a one-on-one, which was something usually dominated in because of his size. He was 5 years older. But he remembers that in that year from sophomore to junior, for us that is grades 10 to 11, Kyle started blowing by his brother, jumping over the rim, and showing just great skill, talent, and confidence. It was from that point on that Lonnie knew how much better his brother had gotten, even though he didn't want to vocalize it and say that he was now the worst brother out of the two. Considered a 5-star recruit by Rivals.com, he was listed as the number 6 point guard and number 28 in the U.S. back in 2004. Lowry later attended Villanova, and in his freshman season there, he was named to the Big East All-Rookie team and was tabbed Philadelphia Big 5 Rookie of the Year. In 24 games, he started 3 times, averaging 7.5 points, 3.2 rebounds, 2 assists, and 1.3 steals per game. Even here, Lowry had to fight for his spot in earning his starts. This, as you can tell, is a common theme in his career. In his sophomore season, he was named to the All-Big East second team, as well as the first team All-Big 5. In 33 games, he started 31 times, averaging 11 points, 4.3 rebounds, 3.7 assists, and 2.3 steals per game. On February 27, 2020, Lowry's jersey, the number 1, was retired by the Villanova Wildcats. We've seen that ceremony recently. Kyle brought both of his sons to the event, and it was a special honor for him. After his 2 years at Villanova, he declared for the 2006 NBA draft and was eventually selected with the 24th overall pick by the Memphis Grizzlies. He appeared in 10 games as a rookie before suffering a broken wrist against the Cleveland Cavaliers on November 21st, 2006. He subsequently underwent season-ending surgery. He returned for the 2007-2008 season and appeared in all 82 games, though, for the Grizzlies. But then in the 08-09 season, we saw Lowry and his good friend Mike Conley Jr. compete for playing time in the starting point guard position. Once again, the common theme of competition and fighting for your spot. This was a result of the Memphis Grizzlies drafting Mike Conley in an extremely high draft pick in the year after Kyle Lowry, which shows that the front office, wasn't too keen on having Lowry as their starting guard, and it put a lot of pressure on Kyle Lowry to outperform this future star. In January 2009, Lionel Hollins was named the team's head coach, and Lowry was told that the team would devote the starters' minutes to Conley. Lowry was obviously unhappy with this role, and some people in the organization considered him to be a bad influence on the roster.
As a result, on February 19, 2009, Lowry was traded to the Houston Rockets in a 3-team deal involving the Grizzlies and the Orlando Magic. With the Rockets making the playoffs in 2009, Lowry played in his first ever postseason. However, he usually played as backup point guard to Aaron Brooks. On December 18, 2009, he recorded a career-high 26 points, 10 assists, 6 rebounds, and 5 steals in a 116-108 win over the Dallas Mavericks. On June 30, 2010, Lowry signed a qualifying offer with the Rockets and became a restricted free agent. Then on July 13th, he signed an offer sheet with the Cleveland Cavaliers worth $23.5 million over 4 years. The Rockets quickly matched the offer, allowing them to retain Lowry. In 2010-2011, Lowry started in 71 of the 75 games he played in, and his reputation in the league began to solidify. On December 3rd, he scored a career-high 28 points and matched his career best with 12 assists in the Rockets' 127-111 victory over the Memphis Grizzlies. On December 17th, in another win over the Grizzlies, Lowry recorded 17 points and a career-high 18 assists, which has now become one of the specialties in the league for great passing, obviously. On February 16th, he scored a career-high 36 points in a 114-105 loss to the Philadelphia 76ers. After that, on March 20th, he recorded his first career triple-double with 28 points, 11 rebounds, and 10 assists in a 110-108 win over the Utah Jazz, becoming only the fourth Rockets player since 2002 and 03 to record a triple-double. This has become another very common thing we see from him. He was subsequently named Western Conference Player of the Week. With the departure of Adelman following the 2010-2011 season, Lowry initially clashed with new head coach Kevin McHale. In the lockout-shortened 2011-2012 season, Lowry appeared in 47 games with 38 starts, missing 16 games over March and April with a bacterial infection that required hospitalization. With Lowry gone, backup point guard Goran Dragic played extremely well, causing the Rockets to decide that they could trade Lowry to shed their salary cap and acquire draft picks during the offseason. This is when our story with him begins, as on July 11th, 2012, Lowry was traded to the Toronto Raptors in exchange for Gary Forbes and a future first-round pick. Lowry averaged over 23 points and 7 assists through the first 3 games of the season, but was injured during the team's 4th game on November 6, 2012. Upon his return, he came off the bench behind Jose Calderon. Once again, he had to fight for his recognition and prove his worth. He regained the starting position when Calderon was traded in a 3-team deal on January 30th, 2013 that brought Memphis Grizzlies small forward Rudy Gay to the Raptors. Despite the trade, which was meant to help the struggling Raptors return to relevance, the team finished the season with a 34-48 record, missing the playoffs. Once again, it's in the Bargnani era, so they weren't obviously the best team. On May 31st, 2013, Masai Ujiri was hired as the Raptors' new general manager, replacing Brian Colangelo, and this marked a dramatic change in the franchise. Ujiri believed that Lowry had the potential to be a star, but found that his reputation around the NBA had more to do with his history of clashing with coaches and his body language than his talent. Ujiri challenged Lowry during meetings that offseason to be a better player and leader. Do you want to be a $3 million player, $2 million player for the rest of your career? Ujiri remembers asking Lowry, or do you want to be a $10 million player or more? Lowry also received mentorship from Chauncey Billups, who Lowry remembers pushed him mentally to challenge himself. Receptive to the advice he had received from Ujiri and others, Lowry looked forward to the upcoming season, entering training camp healthy for the first time in several seasons. The Rudy Gay departure trade, Rosen approached Lowry and the two decided to take ownership of the team. Lowry's name was linked to several teams, most frequently the New York Knicks, in trade rumors, but the Knicks were reportedly unwilling to send a first-round pick to Toronto in exchange for Lowry. The post-Gay Raptors quickly emerged as one of the best teams in the Eastern Conference, and many cited Lowry's strong play and leadership as a significant factor in their success. The team finished the season with a franchise-best 48-34 record, third in the Eastern Conference, and first in the Atlantic Division for the second time in franchise history. They made the playoffs for the first time since 2008, but lost in the first round to the Brooklyn Nets after Lowry's potential game-winning shot, which was blocked by Paul Pierce in Game 7. Despite the disappointing end to the season, Lowry averaged a career-best 17.9 points, 7.4 assists, and 4.7 rebounds during the regular season, and 21.1 points, 4.7 assists, and 4.7 rebounds during the playoffs. Lowry entered the offseason as one of the NBA's most coveted free agents, but on July 10th, 2014, he re-signed with the Raptors to a 4-year, $48 million contract.
The Raptors and Lowry continued their strong play into the next season, and the team once again emerged as a top seed in the Eastern Conference. On November 7th, 2014, Lowry became the team's all-time leader for triple-doubles with a 13-point, 10 assists, and 11-rebound performance in a win against the Washington Wizards. It was Lowry's sixth career double-double and his fourth as a Raptor, passing Damon Stoudemire, who had the previous franchise record of 3. On December 3rd, he scored a career-high 39 points in a win against the Utah Jazz. And on January 5th that year, Lowry was named the Eastern Conference Player of the Month for December 2014, making him only the second Raptor after Chris Bosh to receive this recognition. Lowry averaged 22.3 points, 8.9 assists, and 4.2 rebounds during that month, and he won Player of the Week in the first week, helping lead the Raptors to an 11-4 record. On January 22nd, Lowry became a first-time All-Star while he was announced as an Eastern Conference starter in the 2015 NBA All-Star Game. He became only the third Raptor to be voted as a starter after Vince Carter and Bosh. This was phenomenal for him. You can find parts of the clip on Open Gym when the team is, gathered in, Lowry's film room, and they saw that happening live, and then the team went to congratulate him. So obviously that was a great moment for him in his career, definitely one to remember. The Raptors finished that season, 2014-15, with a franchise-best 49-33 record, making them fourth in the East, first in the Atlantic, but they were swept in the first round by the Washington Wizards despite entering that series with home court advantage. Lowry put up pretty good numbers, 17.8 points, 6.8 assists, 4.7 rebounds in 70 games during the regular season, but his numbers significantly dropped in the playoffs, with many questioning his health during the series. That started some of Lowry's bad playoff reputation that eventually came through as we got beat year after year by LeBron James. Following that disappointing performance in the playoffs, Lowry entered the 2015-16 season with a noticeably slimmer physique. He wanted to be as trim and fit as ever, as he has during his nearly decade-long NBA career. According to the Toronto Sun's writer Ryan Wallstatt, that's what he had to say about it. Lowry explained that he wanted to be prepared for the 82 games and a long playoff run, so clearly he was looking forward to postseason success. On November 3rd, he scored a game-high 27 points against the Dallas Mavericks, as the Raptors started 4-0 for the first time in franchise history, and that streak eventually ended with 5 wins. On December 5th, Lowry scored a then career-high 41 points and made 6 three-pointers in a loss to the Golden State Warriors. On January 21st, he was named as a starter to the Eastern Conference All-Star team for the 2016 NBA All-Star Game. He was also later named to the three-point contest, making him the third player in Raptor history to do so. On February 1st, in a 112-93 loss to the Denver Nuggets, Lowry passed Alvin Williams for second all-time on the Raptors' assist list. The following day, Lowry and teammate DeRozan were selected as co-winners for the Eastern Conference Player of the Month for January. The pair helped the Raptors go on a 12-2 run during the month and a record franchise 11-game win streak. On February 26th, Kyle scored a career-high 43 points on 15 of 20 shooting, had 9 assists, 5 rebounds, 4 steals, in a 99-97 win over the Cleveland Cavaliers. That, I believe, should be the game where he hit that buzzer-beater game winner. On February 29th, he was named Eastern Conference Player of the Week. On March 21st, he was again named Eastern Conference Player of the Week for games played from March 14th to the 20th, becoming the first Raptors player since Chris Bosh to win the award multiple times in the same season. The team finished this regular season with a 56-26 record, which was good for first in the Atlantic Division and for the third consecutive year that they got that, and second in the Eastern Conference. This was their best regular season record ever. Lowry entered the playoffs suffering from bursitis in his shooting elbow, as he shot a mere 32% from the field over the final 10 games of the Raptors season. His poor shooting continued into the postseason as the Raptors faced Indiana Pacers in the first round. Despite Lowry's struggles, the Raptors managed to defeat the Pacers in 7 games, winning their second playoff series in franchise history, their first since 2001. In Game 3 of the Raptors' second-round series against the Miami Heat, Lowry broke out of his shooting slump with a 33-point performance on 11 of 19 shooting, helping the Raptors win 95-91 and go up 2-1 on the series. In Game 6 of the series, he tied his playoff career high with 36 points in a 103-91 loss. He forced Game 7 in Toronto. But in Game 7 of the series, he scored 35 points to go along with 9 assists, 7 boards, 4 steals. That big win helped the Raptors advance to the Eastern Conference Finals for the first time in franchise history. But in Game 4 of the conference finals against the Cavaliers, Lowry scored 35 points. It wasn't enough to help the Raptors win 105-99 to tie the series 2-2. And then in Game 6, he scored 35, was unable to force a Game 7 with a loss, knocking the Raptors out of the playoff in a 4-2 defeat. Lowry capped off his strong season by earning All-NBA third team honors, with his first selection to the All-NBA team ever, joining Vince Carter and Chris Bosh, the only players in franchise history to receive such a recognition. And at the end of that season, Lowry also participated as a member of the U.S. men's national team that won gold at that 2016 Summer Olympics.
He set a season high for the 2017 season. On January 1st, 2017, scoring 20 of his total 41 points in the fourth quarter of the Raptors' 123-114 win over the Los Angeles Lakers. He also had 9 rebounds and 7 assists and went 5 of 6 from three-point range. On February 6th, the Raptors beat the Los Angeles Clippers, and Lowry became the Raptors' franchise leader in three-pointers. His third three-pointer of the night gave him 802 in a Toronto uniform, surpassing Mopeat's past mark. On April 5th, 2017, he returned from an 18-game absence with a wrist injury. In the Raptors' second-round playoff series against the Cleveland Cavaliers, Lowry sprained his left ankle in the third quarter of Game 2 and aggravated the injury while trying to warm up for Game 3. He was not active for Game 4 and thus could not help the Raptors avoid a series sweep with a 109-102 loss to the Cleveland Cavaliers in Game 4. Following the playoffs, Lowry declined his $12 million player option for the 2017-18 season and became an unrestricted free agent. On July 7th, 2017, Lowry re-signed with the Raptors to a 3-year, $100 million contract. With 19 points against the Boston Celtics on November 12th, Lowry moved past Andrea Bargnani with 6,581 points into fourth place on Toronto's all-time scoring list. On January 20th, 2018, he scored a season-high 40 points on 14 for 25 shooting, including 6 of 10 from behind the arc, in a 115-109 loss to the Minnesota Timberwolves. 3 days later, he was selected as a reserve for the 2018 NBA All-Star Game, marking his 4th consecutive All-Star selection. In a win over the New York Knicks on February 8th, Lowry passed 11,000 career points. Then on March 23rd, 2018, he recorded his 10th triple-double as a Raptor with 25 points, 12 assists, and 10 rebounds in a 116-112 win over the Nets. In Game 2 of the Raptors' first-round playoff series against the Washington Wizards, Lowry had 13 points and a career playoff-high 12 assists, as Toronto took a 2-0 lead in a playoff series for the first time in franchise history, with a 130-119 win. In Game 6, Lowry scored 24 points in a 102-92 series-clinching win over the Wizards. However, in the second round, the Raptors were swept for the second straight year by the Cleveland Cavaliers, marking a detrimental point in Raptors history. Masai felt that the current roster could not win a championship, so he completed a series of moves, which involved letting go of DeMar DeRozan and receiving Kawhi Leonard. On October 26th, he had 20 points and 12 assists in a 116-107 win over the Dallas Mavericks, thus recording 10 or more assists for a career-best 4th straight game, becoming the first Raptors player to accomplish the feat since Jose Calderon had 5 in a row in March 2012. This career-best streak ended at 9. Lowry missed 10 games between December 14th and January 5th due to a sore left thigh, 4 games, and a sore lower back, which was 6 games. On March 3rd, he scored a season-high 35 points in a 112-107 overtime loss to the Detroit Pistons. In Game 1 of the Eastern Conference Finals, Lowry scored 30 points and had 7 3-pointers in a 108-100 loss to the Milwaukee Bucks. His 7 career three-pointers were a season high, a playoff career high, and one of his career highs. In Game 5 against Milwaukee, Lowry surpassed DeMar DeRozan for 1,117 as the franchise's postseason scoring leader. In Game 6, he scored 17 points to help lead the Raptors into the NBA Finals for the first time with a 100-94 victory. In Game 6 of the 2019 NBA Finals, Lowry recorded 26 points, 10 assists, and 7 rebounds in a 114-110 series-clinching win over the Golden State Warriors, thus helping the Raptors win their first NBA championship in franchise history. He played very well in this game and took charge at the very start with 11 straight points, showing his hunger for the first ever championship. On October 7, 2019, Lowry signed a one-year, $31 million extension with the Raptors. Then, on November 2nd, 2019, Lowry scored a season-high 36 points in a 115-105 loss to the Milwaukee Bucks. However, on November 8, 2019, Lowry was injured during the 122-102 victory over the New Orleans Pelicans for a sore thumb and sat out for 2 weeks, missing 12 games. On December 3rd, he made his return against the Miami Heat. On December 22nd, Lowry scored 20 of his game-high 32 points in the fourth in a 110-107 victory against the Dallas Mavericks, helping the Raptors overcome a 30-point deficit, making it their biggest comeback victory in franchise history and the first 30-point comeback win in 10 years. Honestly, it's one of the best games I've ever seen in Raptors history. What an exciting game coming back. Obviously had the bench mob as well as Lowry in there to close it out, and it was amazing. The next day, Lowry was named Eastern Conference Player of the Week. On August 1st, 2020, Lowry scored 33 points along with a season-high 14 rebounds while leading the Raptors to a 107-93 win over the Los Angeles Lakers. This was the Raptors' first game in the Orlando bubble, returning from a 4-month hiatus due to the COVID-19 pandemic. As of right now, following the Raptors' Game 2 loss to Boston, we are witnessing Kyle have a bit of a shooting struggle. Coming back from his ankle roll in Game 4 versus the Nets, he's still trying to lead the Raptors, push the tempo, and set the pace for the Raptors. But for some reason, his shot has just not been falling, like most of our team so far. In Game 1's blowout, he shot 5 for 12 from the field and 1 for 5 from 3, ending with 17, 6, and 8. In Game 2, he had 16, 5, and 7 on 5 for 16 shooting, 0 for 7 from 3. He will most likely shake his shooting slump off, but it could be detrimental to our success this series. Lowry overall is a fantastic player and one of the best well-rounded point guards in the league. He has a very tenacious playing style, earning him the comparisons to a pit bull or a bulldog. This is because he is so tough and hardworking on both ends of the floor, especially the defensive ends. He is fearless, always willing to step in front of a 7-footer, running full speed in order to draw a charge. He constantly causes deflection or steals, along with being a huge vocal leader. Naturally, he has an instinct for winning plays on the court, and his desire to win is often infectious for his teammates. He has improved his three-point shot over the years, making it one of his threats, along with getting tough contact layups and N1 shots when he gets the defender to jump on his pump fakes. Lowry's Villanova teammate Curtis Sumter remembers he was just so tough. He wasn't the flashy guy. He wasn't coming down to try and throw 150 crossovers and make all these fantastic moves. That just wasn't his game. He was just so solid and able to read the defenders and make the pass at the right time and get guys in the right position to score. In 2014, Zach Lowe of Grantland wrote that Lowry was probably the best point guard in the Eastern Conference from start to finish of the 2013-14 season. Raining off the bounce threes, getting Toronto into its offense, toning down the wild gambles on defense, and using that stubby little body to draw up more charges than anyone.
Lowry is considered a very strong rebounder for his position also. His stat line is always well-rounded, and triple-doubles, if not double-doubles, have become normal for him. He currently holds the Toronto Raptors franchise record for triple-doubles. Also, we just wanted to acknowledge all of his charity work that Kyle Lowry does. For instance, in 2013, Kyle Lowry and his wife founded the Lowry Love Foundation, which is committed to improving the lives of underprivileged and disadvantaged kids in Philadelphia and Toronto in order to help them attain a better quality of life. This foundation does a lot for its communities, including basketball programs, fundraisers for local schools, benefit clinics, holiday foundations, and giveaways, much more. Not to mention what he does with the Raptors organization, including their connections and donations to St. Jude's Hospital, which is one thing they, showed off in their open gym video for a while. Kyle also has 2 sons, Carter and Cameron, who are a huge part of his life. We've seen them in post-game interviews, the championship game with their hats on, in the most recent introduction video the Raptors had for their Game 1 against the Brooklyn Nets. We know Kyle to be a family man at heart and a loving father and husband to Ayanna Cornish Lowry. Finally, he has turned into probably the greatest Raptor of all time. He has won us a championship, has the most amount of All-Star selections with 6. He had 1 All-NBA third team. He has second most game played for the Raptors, third most points scored, first most assists, first most steals, and third in defensive rebounds, which is incredible for a point guard. Overall, he's had a huge impact on our franchise. He's done a lot for us, and it's been phenomenal to see his come up in the league. A great story of, working really hard, proving people wrong, and fighting for your spot and what's given to you. I think overall he's a fantastic player. Like we said, both ends of the floor. He can create an offense. He can drive hard to the rack. He's very smart getting his defenders to jump. If you have a rookie defender on him, he definitely can cause a foul or get what he wants with the defender. He can shoot that 3 ball good. We know defense, he just charges are his thing. He gets the most amount of charges pretty much every season. He'll do it during All-Star games. He'll cause deflections. And like we said, he is an infectious player to be around, especially his winning mentality. When he plays good, our whole team plays good because we build off his energy. So I think that his story is a phenomenal one, and it's a pleasure to have him on our team.
Yeah, for sure, Gabe. I just wanted to end off with a couple questions before we finish. With Lowry being in this situation this playoffs, with the shooting slump he has been in, what do you think is the reason of the shooting slump? Is it because of the shot selection? Is it because they're just not falling? Is it because the great defense of the Celtics? What do you think it is?
It's hard to tell because I think that he has been getting pretty much his regular looks, some of them open. That pull-up three-pointer, he likes to do that pull-up. We know he can hit it, so I don't think it's a matter of the defense there. But our whole team has been shooting pretty poorly the past 2 games for the most part, so it could be due to defense because our whole team is not shooting too well. But I think, Lowry specifically, I'm not sure, maybe his ankle is causing a little bit of problems when he lands or pulls up. Maybe he's just not in rhythm because we had those couple of days off, but I don't know. I'm not really sure what it is for our team specifically.
Okay. And moving forward, with Lowry's contract situation and his age also rising, for him, I feel it's not really an issue, being as old as he just performs every night and is one of the hardest workers in the NBA. But what do you think of him in the future on this team? Do you see him re-signing? Do you see him being in a package deal to another team for a younger guard? What do you see Kyle being for this team in the future?
He has a lot to offer our team, and we are definitely a loyal franchise. So I feel like the city of Toronto and the franchise in general would love to keep him. I'm not sure that he can be given the full max contract situation, especially because he is aging, and I'm not really sure when he would like to retire or how long that contract would be. But I could see somewhere along the lines of like a 2-year, $25 million or something like that. Because obviously, I think he's still worth the value. He's still playing great All-Star basketball. So I'd love to see him back. I just don't know. If we look to trade him, that would have to be maybe if this postseason doesn't end well and we look to do a bunch of moves, I could see maybe a trade for a younger player if we look towards a rebuild.
Okay. And last one, would you consider him one of the X factors if the Raptors were to come back and win the series against the Celtics?
I think he is a huge factor in this series of whether he brings it or not. We see him always trying to push that tempo and keep the team, high pace and taking tough passes, especially near the end where Boston was bringing it back. We saw him really push to try fighting one-on-one, him versus Kemba. We're going layups upon layups versus each other. I think that he likes to keep the games really close, and he brings a lot of energy to the team. So I think he's going to be a big factor moving forward, especially when shots aren't falling. If he can get into the lane, make some layups, make some good plays, get the team's momentum back in it. Okay. That's pretty much it. We hope you all enjoyed. Please like and subscribe. We got visuals on YouTube. You can also find us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts. Also, check us out on Instagram at Rapzville. We just passed 5,000 followers. We're already on our way, almost at 5,100. Honestly, we're getting there. So, please just support us, show us love. Thank you, everyone, for that has done that so far. And yeah, that's us signing out. Peace.
Peace.